Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And quite the discussion these last few days between the pros and the amateurs as to what exactly it takes to get into the Pro League and whether players should have taken their spots when they were offered those opportunities earlier on this season. Not everyone agrees though, certainly, and Parasite and SlasheR certainly have some words to say, always entertaining when these individuals are on the timeline. And tweet your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new as always, I greatly appreciate it. Really up to the channel, thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, I wanted to talk about Call of Duty World War II Vanguard, which is coming up, well, we imagine, like, later this year, relatively soon at the very least. This poll came out from Charlie Intel talking about what had the better league play system. I think most people who actually played Black Ops 2 and remember what it was like would say that the World War II system was better. It was actually an elo-based system. The Black Ops 2 system was pretty similar, to be honest, to what we have now. Not ideal, but of course Black Ops 2 was a far better game, so it's going to have that Halo effect in a sense. But still, hopefully we do get indeed the World War II style rank play system that we had a few years ago. I don't have to deal with what we currently have here in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Now this also very interesting. If you guys played World War II, I'm sure you'll remember London Docks. I think most people, that's probably their favourite map in the game. Certainly, I think honestly, you look at Call of Duty history, London Docks has got to be like an A-tier plus map of all time. I think it's really good for Search and Destroy, for Hardpoint. I mean, honestly, like, I thought London Docks, one of the bright spots of that game, and in a year that I didn't particularly enjoy playing or watching, to be honest. Here it is, if you guys don't remember it, but rumoured to be returning to Call of Duty World War II Vanguard. I believe they're saying right here that, you know, DLC, like Season 1 or 2 DLC or something, so another classic when it doesn't come out with the game initially, but still, if it's coming back at some point, that's at least some bright spots for us, right? Because, I mean, we heard the rumours the other day there might be only like 8 maps or something with this new drop of the game, so at least if there's some other, like, OG maps, like London Docks, like maybe Summary Dumont or something comes back, pray to God not USS Texas, right? But still, if something like that comes back, we might have a similar situation really throughout the rest of Call of Duty history, where we get kind of, well, teams or developer teams doing similar things to what Treyarch did this year, bringing back some sort of OG maps. Now, of course, the Black Ops 2 style maps, like a Standoff and a Raid, for example, that have been brought back this year, much better in general than the World War II maps that we had from 2017, but still, I mean, promising stuff nonetheless, I do indeed believe. This I thought was pretty crazy, actually, that easyMac puts together. He did this last year and has kind of repeated it this year, looking at effectively like the greatest players of all time. The amount of work it must have taken to track all this stuff is pretty remarkable. You can see on screen, you guys have, maybe if you pause the video and zoom in, you might be able to see exactly what's going on right here, but as you can see, this is all the players, all the teams they've ever played for. Parasite almost goes off the screen because he's played for like 20 different teams, and we're going to talk about him in just a second here. But this is like the average placement of different players, the number of events they've been to, the amount of wins they have all the way here on the right-hand side. So Crimsix technically up to like 40 now, including some of the home series from last year and some of the events from back in the day. And I mean, this is kind of crazy when you look at 26-25. You've got Simp and aBeZy. Simp has an average placement of 2, which is just ridiculous. aBeZy's average placement is going up quite significantly. Right now it's up to 10, but on the Enigma 6 team during World War II, he had a tough time getting top results until he got onto E United, and then of course things went up from there. But it's kind of crazy that Crimsix, even after having a tough, I suppose, year against Atlanta FaZe, winning everything, still he has 40 event wins out of 85 events attended. That's like 47%, almost half the time he goes to an event he wins it, which is just such an incredible statistic. This is what Priestahh had to say on last year's version that easyMac did, talking about how, you know, almost 40% chance of making a grand final has Priestahh, 21% chance of winning it, not too bad, but well, not quite Crimsix Sporters stats, which are just absolutely out of control. And this is well, he quote tweeted a little bit earlier as well that I had this saved, and I was wondering when to talk about this. Thought that was a pretty funny time because as you can see, last year aBeZy had a 16 average placement and Simp had a 2.29, and aBeZy's like, you know, I had to go through the gauntlet for the entire year, and well, since then, of course, it has been certainly uphill. So this is what Priestahh had to say a few days ago with regard to, well, the competition stuff, talking about, okay, should these teams be allowed to go to champs even if they're not beating the majority of the league, and or at least like the bottom third of the league, right? You just have to be better than 33% of the league and you make it to playoffs. That is on you at this point. So obviously some incentives that we talked about a couple of days ago as well. So some discussion here about, okay, there needs to be a culture change in challenges. If players are turning down top teams to keep their stock up for next year or 2 years from now, 5 years from now, needs to be some sort of culture change going on. So interesting to see. We've seen this happen a couple of times now. Decimate is the big example, right? He goes on to Seattle Surge, doesn't have the greatest time of things, then decides to effectively just leave the team, and well, actually finds himself a good spot on the subliners, gets very lucky, to be honest, to get that spot when a team couldn't make it to the States, and then actually kind of proved himself that he can actually compete at a pretty high level, and maybe that will give himself a chance at the top level. Now, I think there was a lot of questions about Decimate's decision to leave the Surge when he did, because it wasn't really a good look. Now, at the same time, you've got players like John that have been there turning down these offers. I'm pretty sure like Seattle were probably giving John offers, players like when maybe teams like LAG or something were giving John offers, these type of squads, and John was like, look, no, I don't want to team with you just because, like, look, it might hurt my stock next season. If I have to go into a Seattle and I'm just kind of stuck in a system that isn't really working for me and I can't perform to the level that I expect to be able to perform at, and, you know, I don't perform incredibly well and the team still doesn't do particularly well and I'm being effectively brought in to fix the team. We saw Chino pretty frustrated with that as of late as well on the Los Angeles Gorilla side. Then, you know, why would I actually join that team when I could just bide my time and get a spot from a top team? Now, that's worked out very nicely for John, right? Getting this opportunity now on the Los Angeles Thieves, which is probably the ideal route to go down, and will probably be there going forward as well, rather than getting brought into a Seattle or Los Angeles Gorillas as kind of like a last-minute fix to their team, ideally, and then getting dropped to the end of the season anyway, and your stock might have even gone down. So there's certainly some reasons why these teams might turn down some of the professional organizations, but some players certainly don't agree. As Doug says right here, if you get a pro offer, you take it 100% unless a better team commits to you for next season. Get your foot in the door and be the change on that organization. So this is what Parasite says back in April when he was on the London Royal Ravens, right? Brought into that team at the start of the season, and of course he had a tough time, right? Because ideally, Parasite is someone who builds the team around him. He's kind of the talisman figure of the team. He doesn't fit into the system. He, you know, revolutionizes the system or whatever. That's how Parasite tends to be, and I think he probably would perform better in a situation like that. So as he says right here, you know, I kind of wish I always have the makings of a championship caliber leader. Just got to find the right opportunity to bring my vision into fruition rather than kind of fitting into this tough spot as he talked about at the time. Now, this is what SlasheR has to say though, because as Parasite's saying right here, Cap, the Pro League needs to be changed. People are turning down chances to play in the league because the teams have zero chance of making champs, potentially tarnishing their name by the so-called joke that is the Pro League. If an amateur comes in and the team plays awful, they get the heat for it. I've been there, it's not everyone, and some team culture is different. However, some players view you differently based on your performance in impossible situations. It is pathetic, says Parasite, but SlasheR says in reply, like he's not necessarily so convinced, there's no such thing as an impossible situation. Get in and perform or expect to be fighting again and to earn another chance. You say that until you're in one. Perform, he says, exclamation mark, question mark. I'm certainly a fan of that one. People are trying to win at all costs, not just perform. Bro, what? You have to perform individually to have a chance to win. So, okay, there's certainly some interesting stuff right here. I think Parasite comes back in reply and says, look, you think you can spawn in versus a well-prepared team with more talent and perform well when you're on a roster no one wants to be a part of? Good luck with that one. So maybe talking about his London team from earlier this season. But yeah, SlasheR's saying now, look, he's back in the Los Angeles Thieves starting lineup. There's no such thing as an impossible situation. If you're an amateur player, you come in and do your best to turn around that squad. Now, of course, some players have tried to do that, like Decimate, and then obviously it didn't work out for them in the first couple of weeks. Then he decided to dip out of the team. I think that if he didn't get lucky with this subliners opportunity, that might have been a mistake for him. But looking back on it, it actually may have worked out in his favour right here. And other players like John probably has worked out in their favour as well. So should you be turning down opportunities in the Pro League? It's probably not an ecosystem we want to foster where when top amateur players want to turn down spots in the Pro League. And that's the question, right, with teams, as Parasite's making a good point, right? The fact that some of these teams, they won't make champs, therefore why would I possibly join that team now when I can like keep my stock up in the amateur scene and potentially get picked up by a better squad making a change in the off season? That's probably a more attractive option than coming into one of these teams that isn't going to make champs anyway, and if you perform badly regardless because the team's going to explode anyway, like Seattle, I mean, I imagine maybe one player on their team is going to stay on their roster next season, probably not much more than that, which means if I'm a John and I come in there, the team's probably going to explode anyway. If I perform poorly, if the team performs poorly, if I'm not, set up well by the rest of my team, then all of a sudden my stock goes down, and I'm not going to make champs anyway. So I certainly understand why these players might turn down opportunities like this. I think Parasite has some fair points really about maybe changing the format so that we don't really foster that kind of ecosystem right now. But on the SlasheR side of things, supposedly he's been looking really good indeed, as Paul X says right here. Lidicote might be the best NA, and I think he ends up deleting this, but yeah, Jesus SlasheR, me challenging him today, he says Paul X right here, and Nate Sen says right here, SlasheR 96 players rates, can we do it? Seems like nowadays getting players for 8 is a very challenging thing indeed for a lot of these pro teams, but maybe SlasheR can get the job done right here with Saint. So clearly I think SlasheR's been on the grind a fair bit. Obviously he's looking to turn things around for the World Championship right here, and well, not too far away from the start of Stage 5. I think July the 8th everything kicks off again. If you guys weren't aware, it's been pushed back by a week. It was meant to be July the 1st on the Thursday it starts. They've pushed it back by a week due to Independence Day and stuff, which may mean that SlasheR and co on the Los Angeles Thieves with their new team of John and Drazah back in their lineup alongside Kenny and SlasheR get some more chance to practice ahead of this. Wanted to finish off with this pretty remarkable statistic the Lion Man puts on the Breaking Point socials yesterday. Simp has only 2 more series losses in his entire career than LAG have had this year alone. This is just ridiculous. Like in 2019, 36-9, phenomenal picture right here. 36-9 in 2019, 28-9 in 2020, and then 2021 so far 30-4. Like I mean, it just gets better and better over time. I guess from 2020 not so much, but I mean that was 5 versus 5. There was Dallas Empire, like it was a different arena. And it's just incredible to see, to be honest, since this guy's absolutely rocking the scene. Like, you've got to look at maybe like the best players of all time and think, right, how many of these players could potentially get overhauled throughout Call of Duty history? It's tough to see. But if there's one guy who could do it, it's well, it's probably this man right here. Intrigued to hear your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. Really upset that you are good to know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you much as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.
Yeah, that is. Kill him.
Man, he wall ran at me.
Got this, Simp.
Oh.
You're right. That's good. Replays air.
Oh my god!
Nice work, Black Ops.
You cannot. You can't be handing me those, bro.
On a train on these, bro.
The movement.
Making them look stupid.
Still arguing.
Got him.
You want to
We don't know where the other one is.
He's behind us. Behind us.
I'm pushing. He ran back.
Yeah, I'm really weak.
He's still up there.
What? He's in the kitchen.
Dude, I stopped shooting him
Lost
because I would
that
slide.
I'll still go.
That's up. Bro, I don't.
One shot, Teddy. Good job.
Run away. If he slides out, I got him.
He's bottom mansion.
Pushing.
Nice.
I'm going wall run.
Yeah, he's in mansion, frozen.
Should I wall?
No.
Oh, you're good.
Oh, I can't believe I just did that, dude.
How are you falling
No,
off?
dude. What? Why do you always ask that question, dude? Like I meant to, dude. I tried to go in the doorway and jump to the left.
It's all good, yo. Come on.
Shut the up. Jesus Christ. What do you think? I just jumped off the map?
Operation ready,
Well, I don't know anymore,
Alright, let's
bro.
get it.
Shut up,
Get it, yo.
dude.
Come on.